Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brandon with Implementation Specialists. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today on one of our WS tools, GLBankBridge. Our presenter here today is Deb Sletmon, but before I hand it over to her, I just wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar, so we will send out that recording either later today or tomorrow, and definitely feel free to share it with your friends or view it at any time. Throughout the webinar, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the questions window or chat pane. I'll be sure to be monitoring that. We'll also take everyone off mute at the very end where you could ask your questions that way. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Deb to talk a little bit more about GLBankBridge.
Perfect. And Brandon, I know we have a large group on with us today as well, so you've got everybody on mute right now. But guys, like Brandon said, put your questions into the question pane. We're happy to answer and want to make sure you guys get a ton out of this. So Brandon, we're talking about one of our tools today called GLBankBridge. And this one is probably one of my favorites because I'm one of those people that want to be able to do entries the way I like to do them. Okay, so that means copy paste. One of my favorite things to the general ledger, I can't do that to bank, right? If I want to put something into the ledger with a copy paste, bank can't be involved because I got to put pieces right to the bank window, right? So today, bank reconciliation by itself and the bank rec module interacts with the general ledger only as what I call a one-way street. Meaning I can be in bank and send pieces over to the ledger, but the ledger can never send anything back to me out of the box GP dynamics. So what we did is we made something called BankBridge. And what it does is it allows your GL and your bank module to work hand in hand as a two-way street. So the GL can actually send things to bank. And Brandon, I know you think, wow, core module doesn't do it. Exactly. Core module does not do it by itself. Our BankBridge module does it. So if your controllers hate having to go over to bank to do general ledger entries, if your end users want to use their copy paste, take a look at our BankBridge. So Brandon, I'm going to jump in and just show it to you here. Because you know me, I'd much rather have you in product and seeing what we have. So I'm going to show you a couple things here quick. And when I'm looking at my checkbook, if you notice, my checkbook for First Bank is tied to the account 000-1100-00. So our tool is super easy. If it sees this account number right here used in a general journal entry, it knows to pop up a message saying, hey, do you want to add that into bank? Because you're doing something to bank. Now, you may or may not need to add a transaction into bank, but you have the option there of being able to do it both ways. Okay, so Brandon, let's try this out. You ready? I'm going to go ahead and just do a general ledger entry. And I have my WS transaction entry window up, but your general ledger entry window, Brandon, would work just the same. Okay, just showing you how it does work here with key to act as well, but it's not required. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 1100 in. Remember, that was my bank module checkbook tied to First Bank. And I'm going to say, wow, we missed that $100, should be here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put an offset in. Find my offset. Okay, and now if you notice, when I go ahead and tell this to post, it's going to pop up the message saying, do you want to add this in bank? Well, right there, I'm looking at, okay, did I use the wrong account? No, because I wanted to impact First Bank, and I needed to put this into First Bank, but I also need to do an increase, because I'm debiting here, I need to do an increase to my First Bank, because when I found this little refund that came back from our 401k plan, I need to go ahead and add that. So Brandon, I'm going to hit my add button here. If I had a screw up, because you know sometimes I'm a screw up, I can hit my cancel, but I'm going to go ahead and add there. And now you can see it pops up a message to go ahead and create that bank transaction, making that module two-way street. Okay. And now this is probably one of my favorite transactions. And I say to end users, I bet Brandon once a week, just do a cash to cash to fix it, which means do a cash to cash, same account, to do an increase adjustment or decrease adjustment if somebody did something to your general ledger that also needed to be in bank. And if you notice here, we were putting $100 in to our other transaction on the general ledger. Now here it's going ahead and it's putting that $100 into bank. It's recording the GL number here as 7602 as well. So you always have a full trail between the two. I'm going to go ahead and post that one through, Brandon. Close that one off. You see you're getting everything that's happening there just as you would expect it. Okay. Perfect. There is my cash to cash on my bank module. And at the same time, my WS transaction module, when I close this one, is going to post as well. So you can see, Brandon, right there, we made a perfect two-way street back and forth with bank. Now, let me show you that again. And let me take it this time from the decrease side, if that's okay. And Brandon, if you've got questions in the question pane, feel free. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go so fast through that. I'll slow this one down and we'll try one more time. Okay.
No questions, but actually a comment that's very cool.
Oh, perfect.
I love that comment.
Okay, so we're doing it again, and I could put these in a batches too, Brandon. I just like to show the posting on it myself. So I'm going to do a test decrease adjustment this time. Okay, and again, remember my checkbook. I mean, and it works with all of your checkbooks because it looks to see which one is on that checkbook master. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm doing a decrease this time. Okay, found one of those pesky service charges. Okay, bank fees. There it is, Brandon. We found it. And you know, I like to keep them into my ledger because you know how I am. I want everything done at this time that it occurs. So instead of just putting this into bank, I can start it from here as well. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit my post button again. I'm going to add the entry in the bank. I'm going to go ahead and add, create my bank transaction. And now if you notice, I've got a decrease adjustment, Brandon, with my 7603 right here. Everything is set, everything is in sync. I'm going to go ahead and post that through, close that out. It's up to you whether you want your posting journals or not. And at the same time, going back to the rest of my entry, I'll go ahead and just close that one off so you can see it from there. So Brandon, do you see how cool that was? The system knew exactly what I was doing. Now take it a step further. Some of you that may have some of your credit card accounts set up as bank accounts, when you're having those credit card entries being copied and pasted back and forth between the credit card reconciliation that you probably are using to GP, guess what? This is going to allow you to be able to have those in a reconciliation module without having to do tons of work to get them in. So if you like your copy paste and you want to be able to copy paste into the general ledger, but still have bank updated, Brandon, it works. Questions, Brandon, so far? We kind of did an increase, decrease. I mean, I could do a quick copy paste too if you want. Yeah. Because that's kind of a fun one. You know me and my copy paste.
Yep, I don't have any questions right now.
So far, so good is what you're saying,
yes.
Huh? And so I'm just going to do my quick copy paste. So those of you that have never seen copy paste, hang on because it's really fun. So I'm putting in my account number, first cell, and you notice I'm not starting at the top. I could be in the middle. This is my description. So I'm just going to put test GJ. Okay, and now I'm going to put my debit in, $100. And then my offset, Brandon, do you remember my account number I was using?
6,600.
I know it's a 6,600. I'm right there with you. And you know, we're both getting kind of old because we just don't remember like we used to. Oh, Brandon, 66. You were so right. Good job. Okay, so let's go back to our copy paste here for just a second. And I'm putting in my offset there, $100. I can put in my description here as well. No, I'm just going ahead and copying these into my copy using my Control-C, however you'd like to copy. Now, when I come back and go back to my general ledger entry window, you notice here, I'm going to go ahead and use my paste up at the top. something really hard for some of us older people that like to use Control V. Oopsie, Brandon, we got a message. You know how it is when we get a message. Oh, my fault, Brandon. That was my fault. So sorry. Let's try that one more time. Let's try not to screw it up this time. So I'm just going to delete them. I had my order wrong, Brandon. I know it's hard to believe. Couple different versions of the copy paste tool we're using. So we'll try that again. Okay, so I just switched mine around. And we're going to go ahead and paste that guy in. And guess what? Look what we have now. Perfect copy paste. Picture it if you're using your credit card reconciliation, your bank reconciliation, you want a quick copy and get some of those fees in. But now, since I'm using my 1100 here, put my test back up here, just a regular journal entry, attach in all my work papers like I like, go ahead, hit my post, add my entry right there, Brandon. Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
Add that in.
Not to steal someone else's comment, but it was very cool.
Post that one through, and that keeps the bank rec module perfectly in sync. Okay, and again, if you want to print all of your posting journals, you definitely can. Up to you. Turn them off if you want. All those are reprintable, so no worries there. So Brandon, we did it with just plain entries. I did it with just, a couple entries, but these can be a lot larger entries as well. Copy paste is working here. And remember, nice and simple. You still can cancel out, you can still kill that entry if you say, hey, I just have the wrong general ledger entry. You can still kill it anywhere along the way. Okay.
Yeah. Great.
So Brandon, questions from the audience. I know we had quite a few on this call today. So definitely, if we can't get to all questions, we can hold them as well. But I always like to try to make sure our end users get a ton of feedback while we're on the call.
Yeah. So I have taken everyone off of mute. So please feel free to ask any of your questions at this time.
Brandon, I know the one in the question pane is about versions, and just so everybody knows, this is one that we run between, I believe we still have some 2013s out there, but primarily 2015, 2016, 2018, and I know we've gotten source code from source code on 2018 release that's coming in October, but it's still preview code. But all of our tools, just like always, will be updated as quickly as we can as customers need them for the newest releases. So if you haven't heard about 2018 R2 coming, definitely coming soon. And Bank's got some good features coming in 2018 R2, which we're excited about. So they made some good improvements to that window. And I don't know about you guys, but Bank Rec is one people are in more and more because we need to make sure everything is updated. So, okay, good. Perfect.
All right. Well, there aren't any questions in the window. Sounds like also people are very shy. But that's more than okay. So with that, I guess we'll give some people back some time in their day. We certainly appreciate you joining our webinar here on GLBankBridge and making it a two-way street between GL and your bank rec modules. If you do think of questions, please let us know, and we'd be happy to get on and have a deeper conversation with you on the product. With that, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.